Good morning, lifestyle is healthers and YouTubers. It's Vicky Midwood here, the alcohol addiction and disordered eating eliminator. And I am talking today all about stopping smoking. I want to just say hi, welcome to Sarah, who joined our group yesterday. And she has answered the questions, as you do when you join this group, and said that her main issue was wanting to stop smoking. So I thought, what a fab topic to do, because I'm a non-smoker. I have not always been. I did smoke for quite a long time, folks. So I thought it was an excellent topic, coupled with the fact that I've actually been talking about this very stuff with my disordered eating clients in relation to alcohol as well as food. And alcohol, food, or smoking, the principles are the same. So we're going to dive into it straight away. If you are watching me live, please do say hello, send me some love, send me some thumbs up or whatever. And if you want to make a comment or you want to ask a question, please do use that comment box, but put your name, because unfortunately, when you do StreamYard Live in a group, unlike if I did it just on my Vicky Midwood page, in a group, it doesn't tell me who you are. So if you can actually put your name, and then I can actually say hi to you personally rather than hello somebody. All right, so stopping smoking, what you need to do. The first thing before you do anything else, before you think about taking action, right, is to first of all get aware. This is what I share with my clients. There is an art to change. Art being an acronym. A stands for awareness. The R stands for responsibility, and then the T stands for taking timely and appropriate action. Now, most people go straight to T and they go, right, I'm going to stop smoking. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick a day. I'm going to stop. Okay. Without having the awareness of why they actually smoke in the first place. So the first thing to do is get absolute clarity on why do you smoke and when. So what is your habit? What do I mean by that? So for me, it was first thing in the morning with my first cup of coffee. That would be my first cigarette. Now, I was kind of fortunate in a way that I had to be conscious of each cigarette that I smoked, because when I lived in my own home and when I moved to London, my own home in Huddersfield, and my dad technically said, please do not smoke in this house, because he was an ex-smoker, so is my mum. And he didn't want the house stinking of smoke, because it absolutely reeks. And if you are a smoker who thinks that your home doesn't smell, I can tell you categorically it does. Even if you don't smoke in the home, it will transfer from your clothing and from your skin. So it does. And quite rightly so, I had to go outside, which meant that I was aware and conscious of each cigarette that I smoked, especially if it was freezing cold like it is this morning. So become aware of what is your habit. So for mine, it was definitely a cup of coffee, and it was on the phone, and it was in the car, right? And yeah, my car used to stink, and my daughter used to tell me how horrible it was to get in that car. And because I was the smoker and I couldn't smell it myself, I didn't think it was as bad as it was. I never used the ashtray in the car. It always got flicked out of the window. Terrible, I know, little outing. But yeah, and sometimes dangerous because it could blow back. But anyway, be aware. That's the first thing. Why are you smoking and when? So if you are telling yourself that the reason you smoke is because it relaxes you, when you're stressed, you need it, what we need to look at is what we can do instead. Because one of the things that I'm going to share with you, and it's really important to take on board, is that the action of breathing in and then breathing out is absolutely going to relax you. It takes you from your parasympathetic, it takes you into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your kind of calm down, relax nervous system. And most of us spend the majority of our time these days in our sympathetic, or our fight or flight or stressed or anxious nervous system. So does the action of breathing in and breathing out actually make you feel calmer and release stress? Yes, it absolutely does. But here's the kicker when it comes to cigarette smoke and to vaping, folks. There are things in the tobacco and things that your cigarettes are rolled with, and the paper and in the actual filter, that create stress within your body. So you've got a little battle going on if you think about it. You are taking that nice deep breath in that will relax and calm your nervous system, but then you're also inputting stuff that increases stress. So there's a stress response happening, even though you're trying to deflect from that stress response. So smoking actually causes stress, right? Internally. So not in the same, I feel stressed, I need a cigarette way, in a different way. But it doesn't matter as far as your body's concerned, because the response is still the same. It still creates an internal stress response, which means that your hormones will get out of kilter. When your hormones get out of kilter, so do your neurotransmitters. That affects your mood, your thought processes, and how you actually handle stress. And it actually means that the more you smoke, the less you are able to manage stress. So you can kind of see that smoking is not doing what you think it does. It's actually making it harder for you to manage stress. And if you are a smoker and you've noticed that over the years, the amount that you smoke has increased, that is exactly why. Because you're not handling the stress as well, so you need to smoke more often in the belief that it will help you to feel less stressed. So once you know why you're doing it, and I'm saying stress, it might not be stress. It may be that you just want a change of scene from whatever you're doing. And you can get that if you go outside and light a cigarette. It's like a pattern interrupt. If something you're doing is challenging or you're just not enjoying it, it doesn't feel great. If you take a step and if you go, hey, Facebook user, I don't know who's watching, but hello. If you go take a step outside, if you do like me, have to smoke outside, or even just get the packet, open it, light it, that's already interrupted the pattern. You've broken what was causing you the discomfort in the first place. So it could just be that you want a distraction. It could just be that you just want to get away from what you're doing. It can also be very much a habit, and that is often instigated by certain things, as I've said. So knowing when you do it, but also around certain people. So it may well be that, hi Clay, it may well be, nice to see you, sweet. It may well be that you smoke more with certain groups of people and you don't with others. So the key is get really aware of why you smoke, what you believe it's doing for you, what you believe you're getting from it, the emotions attached to it, what you're trying to avoid perhaps, or what you're trying to feel. Is it relaxed? Is it more calm? Is it just a change of scene? And then know exactly when and who you're with. Once you've got clarity on that, that's not the end of it. You don't suddenly stop just like that, because you need to now know, why do you want to be a non-smoker? Now notice the language that I use there, because the language that you use inside your own head when you are changing any habit, whether it is drinking alcohol, whether it is shopping, whether it is gambling, whatever it is that you decide you don't want to do anymore, we now talk about being a non-binge eater, a non-drinker, a non-smoker, right? We are not someone who's given up or, oh, I've stopped. Because if you've given up or you've stopped, you're leaving a little chink in that doorway for you to take it back up again, to stop having given up and to start again. Whereas if you actually use that definitive phrase, I am a non-smoker, or I do not smoke, I do not drink, I do not binge eat, this is authoritative, it is powerful. Your brain takes it on board as fact. You do not do these things. Whereas when you say, oh, I've given it up, or, yeah, I'm an ex-smoker, right? There's that thought that goes, smoking, maybe I could still think about it. Maybe I could still want to do it. Whereas if you just go, I don't, it's off the table, right? It makes it so much easier. So how you speak to yourself in your own head about who you are going to become is crucial. So get clarity on that, right? Because if part of you still sort of wants to smoke, or you want to just social smoke, you're probably not committed, and you're probably going to say, I'm going to give up, or I'm going to stop, as opposed to I am from this moment a non-smoker. So crucial language, that's the next thing. And then you want to get absolutely clear on why you do want to be a non-smoker. What will it give you? What will you benefit from? How will you benefit? Will you have more money in your pocket? Well, absolutely. I mean, I gave up. How long? And I've just said the word gave up, but I did stop. Literally, now I'm thinking about it. 15 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, I became a non-drinker first, and I actually found that cigarettes was harder to break the habit than drinking, which probably sounds ridiculous, but it actually is true. It was for me. Doesn't mean to say it is for everybody. But what I want you to get absolutely clear on is what will being a non-smoker give you? What are the benefits? So for me, very simply, money was massive. You know, by that time, they were already £6 or £7 a packet. I honestly don't know how much they are now, because cigarettes aren't even on my radar, and they're now covered up, aren't they? So you can't even see. So I've no clue. But you will save money, right? You will definitely smell better. You'll be nicer to be around, because you do actually stink like an ashtray. And I'm sorry to tell you that, even if you think you've sprayed perfume and you don't, you do. If I walk past a bus stop now and there's somebody sat there who had a cigarette a few minutes ago, geez, I can smell it a mile off. And I am not one of those horrible people who now moans and groans and says how disgusting it is. I do not do that, because I did smoke for a long time. And I absolutely get that it is an addictive habit, and it's meant to be. The cigarette companies want you to become addicted, and that's why they put the shit in that they do, to ensure that you do indeed become addicted. Not your fault. Chemical reactions that go on. So yeah, I'm not one of those horrible people, but you will smell nicer. That's a fact. People will be more ambivalent about whether you smoke or don't smoke in this day and age, which actually makes it easier. More people do not smoke than do, which I think is great. I think it's changed so much in the last 20, 30 years. Obviously depends on the group of people that you hang out with. And if you are hanging out with a group of people who ridicule you for wanting to become a non-smoker, then I would honestly say question, are those the people you want to be hanging around with? Potentially not. Have a think about that. If your partner smokes, it's a tricky one. That's all I'm going to say, because you cannot make anybody else become a non-smoker unless they have their own powerful reasons for wanting to do so. And we can actually debunk all of the myths that they have, or the beliefs that they have, that smoking actually makes them feel better and helps them to feel calmer. So focus on yourself, right? But be absolutely certain that you make it as easy as you can initially, for sure, and try not to hang around people who smoke a lot in front of you. It just makes it easier if you don't see it, if you're not around it, definitely for the first week or so. And that's the thing that I want to share with you guys, is it's the discomfort of being a non-smoker, the uncomfortableness, if you like, only lasts 48 hours. Right? It doesn't last longer than that. It takes 48 hours for your body to pretty much get rid of all that shit that's still in your system. And once you are cleared out, that's it. What people feel the most uncomfortable about is not knowing what to do with their hands, and not knowing how to distract themselves in another way, or de-stress in another way. And so that's the final part of the puzzle that you need to do before you decide to become a non-smoker, is have a plan of what you will do to replace when you smoked. So it could be as simple as, if you smoked with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, change your drink, right? Because you will not have the association. So for example, if you have a cup of hot water with lemon in it, then the desire to have a cigarette is probably significantly reduced. So look at changing your drink if there's an association with your drink. If you did what I did and you smoked in the car, then take it and get it cleaned, right? I know there's no valet car cleaners open at the moment because of the pandemic, but go to a garage that's got a vac that you can vac it, or if you can get your vac and do it yourself, do it, right? Get it cleaned outside and in, get rid of the stink that will be in the seats and everywhere. Just make it smell nice, clean it out so that the next time you get in it, you're less likely to want to spoil that by smoking a cigarette. Look at how you can use your hands to do other things. Now, silly as it sounds, this is the truth, this is what worked for me. I found that actually it was that hand-to-mouth action that was the biggest thing that I missed. It was putting something in my mouth. And this is where you've got to be really, really careful, right? Because this is where people say, if you stop smoking, you put on weight. No, absolutely not a given. You will only do that if it is that hand-to-mouth connection that you're missing and you decide to pick at food or sweet stuff. Because that food, and particularly sweet stuff, if it's floury, if it's sugary, if it's fatty, so I'm talking things like biscuits or actual sweeties or cakes or crackers or whatever, if you're constantly picking because you're not smoking, you will put on weight. But they also hit that reward center in your brain, so they will actually make you feel better, right? People don't pick up food and binge eat because it doesn't work. They do it because it does. So be careful that you don't swap one addictive pattern, smoking, for another addictive pattern, binge eating or picking at food and consistently grazing, because then you will have an issue with your weight. So think about what you can do with your hands. Now, I'll tell you what I did, right? Because it was the hand-to-mouth connection. So chewing gum didn't work for me because you only put that in once and then you chew it and that's it. What worked for me, sounds ridiculous, but was using a pen or a pencil. And I would literally hold it in my mouth for a bit and then take it out. And I would do it again. Obviously, in COVID, make sure that it's a pen or a pencil that only you use, and put the non-inky end or the non-leady end in your mouth. But that actually worked for me, right? But also so did sugar-free lollipops. Now, I'm not an advocate, as I say, for swapping out things for sweets. But when I found that I was like, I need to do something with my hands or I was uncomfortable, especially in the car, it really, really worked for me. I would have a lollipop. And I know it's a little bit gross, but you do what you do to make it work for you. So I would have the wrapper there in the little well, in between the passenger seat and the front seat. And I'd have my lollipop and I would suck on my sugar-free lollipop because that would help me to feel okay when I was driving and not miss that whatever. And then I would put it down and it would be there for the next time I was in the car. Pretty gross. I'm going to caveat that. It's usually only me who is driving myself in my car. It wasn't a passenger vehicle and I didn't have a load of family going in it, because that might have been a little bit gross. So, and if I did happen to have anybody in there, I would wrap it up and I'd put it in the glove box. So, but it worked, right? Because it was that hand to mouth connection. And then over time, I realized that I didn't need to keep doing that. That did become a habit. Right? And I had to question, do I actually need this habit any longer? The answer was no, and it was very easy to stop it. But it was better than me eating a load of sweets or crisps or biscuits or whatever. So have a plan of what you will do. Exercise is a really good one, right? Because if you want to change your energy and you want to change how you feel or you want a distraction, and if you used to go outside for a cigarette, get your butt outside, but move your body. Literally 10 seconds of star jumps, running on the spot, or just grounding yourself. So what does that mean? Take your socks off and just walk barefoot on the ground, right? It will help you to feel better. It provides a distraction and it also brings you down into that parasympathetic nervous system. So to recap, Sarah, I hope this is helpful for you and I hope that you do get a chance to watch it. Number one, be absolutely aware of why you smoke in the first place. What is the story you're telling yourself? What do you think it's doing for you on a positive level? Because you wouldn't keep doing it if you didn't think it helped you. Also be aware of when. What are your patterns of behavior? What are your rituals? What are your habits? And what are your associations? So know what they are. Get absolutely clear on what they are. Then get clarity on why you want to be a non-smoker and refer to yourself as a non-smoker, not as an ex-smoker or someone who's given up. So why? What will it benefit? How will it benefit you? What will you gain from being a non-smoker? Get really clear on that. And then the third thing to do is ensure that you have got some idea of what you will actually physically do when you feel the discomfort, and it is only uncomfortable for a short while. of not being able to pick up that cigarette. So have a plan of action and make sure you've got stuff ready in places that you need them. So for example, if you were smoked in the kitchen, make sure you've got a pen in there or a lollipop in there. Or if it's in the living room, make sure you've got the stuff that you require in every room so that you're not going, oh, sod it, I can't find anything. And then, of course, the other thing is to decide when you're going to become a non-smoker. Now, the jury's out on how it's best to do it, right? For me, I read a book by Alan Carr, and for those of you who might have seen Karen's comment about the book that I recommended, that was the book that I recommended. It was Stop Smoking, but it was for females. And the reason for that, because we've got different issues going on from a hormonal point of view. So I recommended that she did the book, and the caveat was do the exercises as they are laid out when they are laid out in the book. And Alan Carr, I know it's, you know, ironic that he died as he did of issues with lung cancer, because he was a smoker for a long time, and it did end up being the reason for his death. But his book is actually really, really helpful. But he's also really clever, because if you don't succeed using the book and you go to the back of it, it says, if you didn't succeed, let me ask you this: did you actually do the exercises where they were set out, when they were set out in the book, or did you just read the book like a book? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I read the book like a book, and I didn't actually do the exercises as they were laid out. So if you get access to that book, it's the Alan Carr Stop Smoking book, but for women, I would definitely recommend that. It's a really, really useful tool. Now, it does suggest that you decide when to stop, and that's it. You stop in the evening, that you have your last cigarette, and that's the end of it. Now, for me, actually, that didn't work. Right, I ended up going back in the bin, and I'm being completely transparent, and getting out the very last bit, because to be quite honest, I think I had 2 or 3 left, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to smoke these now because I don't want any in the house for tomorrow. So I didn't really smoke them properly, and I left quite a bit on the last one. Now, did I do that subconsciously on purpose? Probably. Now I think back, probably. But I definitely did go and get it. And I did have the last 2 or 3 puffs the following day. And then I found I was able to say, right, that's it. Now, that's what worked for me. I'm not saying that that is the way to do it. It is not the way that's recommended in the book, but we're all different, and you have to do it in the way that works for you. What I am going to say to you is, if you don't succeed first time, get absolutely clear on why you think that was, right? Failure is not a failure, right? It's just feedback. It gives you an opportunity to look back and go, okay, what was I not clear on, right? Is my why I want to stop, is it not powerful enough for me? How can I make it more powerful? Let me really revisit what is going on. Am I absolutely clear on why I'm smoking? Maybe there's some deeper reason why I'm smoking and why I don't want to let go of it. Delve into that. And if you do need any help with it, then please do get in touch. Just put a comment below here or direct message me, and we can have a chat about it. So there you go. Those are my tips on smoking, folks. It's always the same. Get the awareness first. Take the responsibility for the fact that you did create that habit, and therefore it is your responsibility to change it, and you can. And it's not as hard as you think, as long as you choose to do the steps that I've said and make sure that you are fully prepared. And if you go for it, please let me know that you've been successful, and I will welcome you into the group of non-smokers. Have a lovely Wednesday, folks. Have a woohoo day. It looks like the sun is out, and it's out to stay today, even though it is absolutely freezing cold out there. But sunglasses and a brisk walk, I think, will be a fantastic idea. So on that note, I'm going to do just that, and I wish you a great Wednesday. For those of you who are wanting to join me on the webinar tonight, so I am doing my Digestive Detox webinar, which is all about how a detox can help to eliminate cravings and also help you to release weight naturally. If you want to find out about what I'm talking about, why I'm talking about it, please do come and join me this evening at 7, maximum an hour. I don't want it to go on for a really long time. I appreciate that your evenings are precious time, and so are mine. And so I'm doing it also on Saturday afternoon for those of you who can't make the evening. So the webinar is tonight at 7. And it is also Saturday afternoon at 2. So if you want to jump on it, the link is here above this video. When you go to the link, you can choose, when you go to the booking page, you just choose which one you want to attend, and that's it. That's all you need to do, right? You just fill in your details and you're booked. I would love to see those of you on there who have been talking about feeling uncomfortable and maybe trying to lose some weight before we start seeing each other face to face. And maybe you've been looking at some 7-day juicing detoxes, because they're everywhere at the moment. And so on this webinar, I'm going to tell you why they are not a great idea unless they get you to do certain things first before you do it. So I go through the mistakes that most detox programs work. And I will also be explaining to you about the program that I will be offering, which is a 5-week online group program. I haven't done an online group program for a very long time. I think I talked about it earlier this week. But I am delving back in again because I know what I have to offer you guys will absolutely work, and I am going to be doing it as well because I have also slipped into some old habits and I am paying for it from a Hashimoto's point of view. It's been flaring up for a while now. So I'm just like you guys, right? I am not perfect. So I'm going to be jumping on it too. And I hope to see some of you join the program. But most importantly, if you don't join the program, please do jump on the webinar because I think you will find it really informative and really helpful. And it will also answer a number of your questions about migraines and headaches and joint aches and pains and gut stuff, i.e. diarrhea and constipation. And maybe it will just fill in some of the missing pieces for you that perhaps you thought you knew. And I'll also talk about why what you think healthy eating is not necessarily healthy eating. So if that intrigues you, and I hope it does in the slightest, please click the link, come and join me either tonight or Saturday. Have a lovely Woohoo Wednesday, whatever you get up to, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.